What is going on, Outriders, and welcome to another Outrider video. Today we're going to be talking about all things Endgame, and Endgame is a little bit more diverse than a lot of people are making it out to be. Not only are we going to be covering the trials of Tara, but we're also going to be going into depth a little bit what more you can expect out of these trials. In addition to that, we're also going to be talking about other Endgame content, whether you're a new player all the way for you pros and veterans out there that are ready to jump into World Slayer. So that sounds like something you're definitely interested in. A like would be greatly appreciated. So let's talk about Endgame. I'm going to get started like if you're first starting to play the game. If you guys are already veterans, then you're going to want to skip this part. If not, just stay tuned. We're going to get through this really quick. So when you first start out the game, guys, the first thing you want to do, of course, is get to Endgame as quickly as you possibly can. And in order for you guys to get to Endgame, you want to make sure you hit level 30. Now, after you hit level 30, that is when the grind begins, because that is when you guys need to start doing expeditions, which will better your gear and give you better advantages to be able to complete more objectives and target the loot that you want to go ahead and target. Of course, once you hit level 30, your grind is then to hit level 50, and you're only able to unlock level 50 is by doing the expeditions and getting high level gear. So that is if you guys are new to the game. Now, if you guys are just going to straight jump into World Slayer, then your end game is going to be just a little bit different. Now, I'm going to go into detail on what I could possibly tell you guys and what I'm able to tell you guys. I wish I could tell you much more, but due to the fact that we have embargoes, we can't. But let's go ahead and talk about it. You're level 30. You already have all your gear. Level 50. All your gear is maxed out. And if you want to find out how you can get ready for World Slayer, I actually have a video, so you're definitely going to want to make sure you check that out. But you're level 50. Now what happens, right? So there are three things that are going to be happening and taking place in the game. And these are the three things I really want to dive in and talk to you guys about. All right, so we're going to get started with the Ascension Points, guys. So the Ascension Points is a brand new system that's getting introduced to the game. And it's theoretically another step of a progression system that you will only have access to if you own World Slayer. If you don't have World Slayer, you won't have access to this particular system. Now, I have a more in-depth video going over this particular system and the Ascension Points and how they work. So you're definitely going to want to make sure you check that out. But overall, in general, guys, the more enemies you kill in the game, the more Ascension Points you're going to be getting. Now, these Ascension Points are intended to make you a more powerful character. So whether you're not getting certain gear or you're not getting certain weapons, you still will be able to get a lot stronger, a lot better, and have more abilities and have more power in your arsenal if you guys level these Ascension Points. Now, when you obtain these Ascension Points, you're going to be able to spec these points into a total of 5 different categories. The categories being brutality, endurance, prowess, and anomaly. Now, each of these 5 categories have 5 different options to invest them. So if you want a little bit more in depth on what these points are, check out that video that I talked to you guys about earlier. Overall, in general, guys, there are a total of 200 Ascension Points, and you'll be able to get all 200 of them as long as you dedicate enough time to the game and earn that XP to be able to obtain those Ascension Points. Now, apart from the Ascension Points, guys, we have another brand new system called the Pax Skill Tree. Now, the Pax Skill Tree, think of your skill tree and think of it having an additional skill tree added on top of the skill tree. Now, what makes the Pax system beautiful is the ability of being able to kind of let go of some of the skills you purchase from within the skill tree, and instead of unlocking them within the skill tree, unlocking them via the Pax Skill Tree. Now, in addition to that being an additional option of you guys getting different nods from the Pax Tree, it provides you with giving you the ability of buffing certain skills that you already have within the set skill tree. Now, the Pax Skill Tree will be unlocked at level 30 again, and it will require its own Pax points to activate any of the nods. You will get these Pax points from completing key World Slayer content milestones. So in order for you guys to get access to this Pax system, once again, you're going to have to own World Slayer, and you're going to complete certain objectives and so forth and so forth. Like I said, I can't really go into too much detail on the Pax system, but I can tell you guys that that is another type of endgame. So far we have 2 different types of endgames. We have the endgame of getting all the 200 Ascension Points, and we have an endgame of unlocking the whole complete Pax tree. Now, what makes this awesome is that just like the skill tree where you're able to reroll and respec your skill tree, you will also be given the chance to respec your Pax skill tree, which opens up the great possibility of different builds and different items that currently weren't working in the game to actually work better with better synergy. due to the fact that we have a wider range of abilities and a wider range of attributes that we're able to tap into that we weren't able to tap into before. Alright, so now to talk about what everybody's extremely excited for, and that is Grana. This is where the endgame becomes, because in this endgame, we will get access to that other part of the endgame that we haven't spoken of. So there's a total of 4 different endgames so far. So Grana is going to be number 3. Now in this particular area, guys, the way you're going to start this endgame is once you guys complete the storyline of the game, which should last you between a total of 6 to 10 hours depending on your skills, you're going to be sent back to the base camp. Now within the base camp, there is going to be an entrance that will give you access to this trials, and you will be able to enter the trials. Now prepare yourselves to a gauntlet type of area, very similar to a dungeon, where you will be able to progress through the dungeon, and the more you progress, the more difficult it will become, and the more bosses you will be able to find. Now, within this area, guys, you will also find stuff called Crossroads. Now, these particular Crossroads are pretty much areas within this same dungeon that you're going to be able to explore that are going to yield you a good amount of loot. So let's go ahead and talk about these. So these particular Crossroads, guys, are called troves. Now these are optional areas. You don't have to go to these particular areas in order to complete the dungeon, but it does give you a reward, and it does give you a benefit if you decide to actually do these. These are actually pretty hard endgame content, but once completed, and once a trove area is completed, you will be given an access to this chest. Now the beauty about this chest is that this chest will have targeted loot. So for example, let's say the chest to the right is called Proven Grounds, and in this chest you're going to be able to find only helmets. So you'll be able to target just specific helmets if that is what you're missing. The cool thing about these helmets is that these are going to give you the ability of being able to drop as apocalyptic gear, and that is the 4th endgame, because you're going to want to make sure all your gear is apocalyptic, because that's going to give you the option and the ability to get a total of 3 different mods slotted within your inventory. So definitely you're going to want to make sure you target these, and knowing where to target certain specific set of items is going to be extremely important. And as you guys already know, the number 1 place to find out where to go and find target loot is this channel, because I've been showing you guys where to find target loot ever since the game launched. So guys, you're going to want to make sure you learn how to target the loot, and troves are going to be the best option to target specific loot. Of course, later on when the game releases, I will tell you guys exactly what each area will target, so you guys know exactly where to farm for specific gear. Now back to the boss areas, because remember, like I said earlier, guys, there are different boss areas here that you're going to have to progress through to make sure you complete the area. Now, the interesting part of the dungeon area, which I like, is the fact that there are multiple ways of you being able to not have to respawn over and over. So once you complete the area, it will automatically teleport to the start, so you can go ahead and run the dungeon all over. If you die too many times, it will also teleport you guys to the start, so you guys can go ahead and start all over. Now, every time you guys progress to a different area, you're going to have to defeat a boss. Now, every time you defeat a boss, the challenge will be upgraded, and the game will get just a little bit harder, because there are brand new enemies that you've never fought before. Whether you're an Outrider veteran or you're new to the game, these are going to be enemies that you haven't seen before in any of the game. For example, you have the Shadow Beast, which is a bloodthirsty predator who is exclusive just to this particular dungeon. And of course, this is where optimal builds and optimal skills are going to be playing a huge part of being able to complete these dungeons, not only fast, but also effectively. Now, if you guys want to know exactly what builds you should have currently right now ready to go, so when World Slayer comes out, you guys are ready to rock and roll and cause as much damage as you possibly can, then you're definitely going to want to check this video that's popping up in here in the screen, telling you guys the 4 best builds to have currently right now in the game. I hope you guys are enjoying our Outrider coverage. If you are, do me the huge favor, guys, drop a comment, drop a like, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel, turn on all your notifications so you guys won't miss when our videos go live. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys on the next video.